Silver, The Quiet Shift, Episode 2. Here's what nobody is telling you about silver right now. And honestly, it might be the most important thing you hear about your money this year. Not because silver is exploding, not because there's a headline screaming about it, but because the exact opposite is happening. And if you've been through a few market cycles, you know, the big moves never announce themselves, they whisper first. I'm going to walk you through what that whisper sounds like right now. Stay with me through this video, because by the end, you're going to see something in this market that most investors won't recognize until it's already moved. If you're new to this channel, hit subscribe right now. We're not posting random videos. This is episode 2 of a connected series, and we're building this picture piece by piece. You miss one episode, you miss part of the story. So subscribe, stay in the loop. Now let's get into it. Everyone right now is watching gold. And look, gold deserves attention. It always does when the world feels unstable. Central banks are buying it, institutions are holding it, the headlines are full of it, and that's fine. Gold is doing exactly what gold does during uncertain times. It leads. But here's where most investors make the mistake of their financial lives. They watch gold, they buy gold, they feel good about gold, and then they completely miss what gold is actually telling them about silver, because gold isn't just an asset, it's a signal. And right now, that signal is starting to point somewhere else. Let me explain how this works, because once you understand it, you'll never look at a precious metals market the same way again. There's a number called the gold to silver ratio. Simple concept, it just tells you how many ounces of silver it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold. When that number is high, silver is cheap relative to gold. When it compresses, silver is catching up. And historically, the moments when that ratio peaks and starts rolling over. Those moments have marked some of the most powerful silver rallies in modern financial history, not small moves, not 10 or 15%. We're talking about the kind of moves that completely change what a position in silver means for your portfolio. And right now, early signs of that compression are forming. Now I want you to think back. Think about how every major silver rally actually started. Gold ran first. Sentiment in gold got strong. Media started covering it. Everyday investors felt comfortable. And silver? Silver just sat there. Lagging, frustrating, looking slow and boring compared to gold. Then the ratio peaked. Then it stalled. Then silver started quietly holding stronger on down days. Gold would pull back 1% and silver would only give up half. Gold would recover and silver would recover faster. Small signals, easy to dismiss. And then, almost like a switch flipped, silver began outperforming, first gradually, then sharply, then explosively. And by the time the mainstream financial media picked up the story, by the time the silver surge headlines appeared, the early investors had already built their positions at lower prices. The retail crowd was chasing, the smart money was already in. That's the cycle. That's how it always plays out. And the reason most people miss it is simple. They wait for confirmation. They need to see the breakout before they believe it. And that wait costs them the best part of the move. We are watching the signals that come before that breakout right now, in real time. Here's something else that most people overlook about silver, and it separates it completely from gold in a way that matters. Silver isn't just a monetary metal, it's industrial. It's inside solar panels. It's inside the electrification infrastructure being built across this country and around the world. It's embedded in medical technology, in AI infrastructure, in the systems that modern life depends on. Demand isn't theoretical, it's structural, it's growing. So what you have with silver is a rare combination. When fear drives investors toward safe haven assets, silver benefits. And when the economy is expanding and industrial demand is climbing, silver benefits again. Both forces can align at the same time. And when they do, the result isn't just an uptick. It's a sustained, powerful run that catches most investors completely off guard. That alignment is exactly what forms during the later stages of a precious metal cycle. And if the macro picture right now Elevated global debt, central bank gold accumulation, inflation that isn't fully tamed, monetary policy that's been questioned at every turn. If that backdrop continues, then we are likely moving deeper into that cycle, not out of it. Let me tell you what I'm watching on the positioning side, because this is where it gets really interesting. Right now, the people who hedge silver commercially, the big producers, the major players, are not aggressively defensive. That matters. Managed money, the large funds that trade precious metals, is not sitting in an overcrowded long position. Retail interest in silver is cautious at best. Most everyday investors aren't talking about it. Search trends are quiet. The excitement isn't there. That combination, neutral positioning, quiet sentiment, low public awareness, is historically the exact environment where the next major move begins to build. The biggest silver rallies in history did not start when everyone was bullish. They started when people were skeptical, when silver seemed boring, when the mainstream had moved on to something flashier. Because that's when the market has room to move. There's no overcrowded trade to unwind. There's no euphoric retail crowd to disappoint. Just a quiet building pressure with plenty of space for new capital to enter. Right now, silver has that space. And here's the psychological part I want you to sit with, because this is where most mature investors either step ahead of the crowd or get left behind again. When compression resolves, when that ratio starts to roll over and silver begins visibly outperforming gold, the narrative shifts fast. Financial media starts running percentage gain comparisons. Social media fills up with breakout charts. Influencers start talking about silver shortages and explosive upside. Retail money starts chasing. All of that creates a self-reinforcing wave. The momentum brings more momentum. The headlines bring more buyers. The move accelerates. But that wave starts from a ripple. What we are doing right now in this series is watching the ripple, studying the compression, understanding the positioning before the crowd shows up. Because by the time the wave is visible to everyone, a meaningful part of the move is already behind you. Professionals don't wait for the wave. They position during the ripple, and they hold their conviction while everyone else is still skeptical. Now I want to be straight with you, the way I always am on this channel. This is not a guarantee. No one in this market, or any market, can hand you a guarantee. What we can do is identify when historical patterns are aligning, when structural conditions are stacking up in a particular direction, and when the risk-reward of paying attention becomes difficult to ignore. That's what this moment is. The gold cycle has run its early phase, the ratio stretched. Compression signs are forming, positioning is not crowded, industrial demand is structurally supported. The macro backdrop hasn't resolved, and sentiment in silver is still cautious. Every one of those factors has historically pointed in the same direction. A setup, a real one. And intelligent investors, experienced investors, they focus on setups, not hype, not guarantees. Setups backed by data, history, and structural logic. This is one of those setups. Before we close this out, I want your opinion in the comments right now. Simple question: gold or silver? Which one do you believe outperforms over the next 12 months? Drop it below. Because sentiment is data, and I want to see where this audience actually stands before the market makes its next move. If this breakdown gave you clarity, share this video with someone who still thinks silver is just gold's cheaper cousin. That assumption has cost people real money in past cycles. Don't let someone you know miss this conversation. And subscribe if you haven't already. Episode 3 is coming, and that's where we go deep into the liquidity triggers and positioning mechanics that could turn this quiet compression into a visible, powerful surge. You need to see that episode. It's where the setup becomes actionable. The move hasn't exploded yet, but compression has started. The ratio is whispering, and in this market, by the time it starts to shout, the best seats are already taken. Stay patient, stay disciplined, stay ahead of the story. I'll see you in episode 3.